I want to talk about this Debo Adegbile story. Really, sort of. I mean, it's somewhat shocking, I guess. It never would have occurred to me. I guess I have not been doing my job in watching Fox News, frankly, to see how much they were demagoguing this. But Debo was a nominee to head the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. I went to college with him, and full disclosure, I'm not the only one saying this. And I was not, I'm not particularly good friends with him, but I saw him most recently, probably within the past year or so at some alumni function. But he was the litigation director for the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund. He had appeared at least on one occasion, maybe multiple occasions, in front of the Supreme Court arguing voting rights cases. He apparently a couple years ago, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund filed an amicus brief and then represented Mumia Abu-Jamal on an appeal of his death sentence for killing a Philadelphia police officer back in 1982. This appeal was not based upon, did not deal, I think, with his guilt or innocence, but rather the specifics of jury selection and jury instruction. That's it. And he worked for the National Legal Defense Fund. Frankly, I think we should be saying the same thing, whether or not he was of counsel at the time. He wasn't. He was, probably 15 at the time of when Mumia went to trial. But the idea that representing anybody in court, I suppose you could have an argument if there was a guy who was sort of like a known, whose entire practice was representing mafia figure. But even then, look, this is the way our judicial system and our legal system works. Everybody is entitled to representation. It is the obligation of litigators and defense attorneys to represent their clients to the best of their ability. This was also a situation where the Legal Defense Fund prevailed. So a higher court found that their contention was correct. So this is not just a guy going out on a limb here, but all of that to me is immaterial. The idea that is what sunk his nomination. Every Republican voted against this guy. And that was to be expected. You had Fox demagoguing this in a Willie Horton-style fashion, apparently for the past couple of weeks. There were 7 Democrats. I don't think all of these guys were in the Senate at the time. Certainly the many of the Republicans were. John Roberts was confirmed after providing legal defense for a mass murderer. Free defense, pro bono. Was executed for murdering several people in Florida. Again, I don't think that should have been an issue whatsoever. But, of course, because Debo is not white, and because he's going on the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice, it's much easier to demagogue. This is what we were talking about. Who was the guest that we had on a week or two ago when we were talking about the idea of demagoguing race?
Professor Ian
Haney.
Haney.
This is a perfect example of racial demagoguery.